Well, it wasn't the way to end the pre-season tour. Manchester United 0, them lot from the other side of the M62 3. It was abysmal to watch. It was just woeful from beginning to end, really. It's very difficult to find any positives. We're going to try.
Yeah, we're going to try.
There is some positives.
You
Ella Toon's on the TV. She's a bit of a star for the United women's team.
Yeah.
Can she play centre midfield for us?
Probably she's do a great job.
She's probably better than Antony.
So we've got to be 3-0. I mean, obviously the first thing to point out is pre-season. So looking into it like we will do, you can overthink things, but there were certain elements of the game I think we all found pretty disappointing. I thought certain senior players didn't really have the best game. You're looking at players like Onana, which Stretford Paddock have had a really great interview with over the last few days, which I do recommend go and check out. He wasn't at the top of his game either, so I'm not worried, but I am slightly concerned that we didn't make the most of this clash.
Yeah, I'd say it is pre-season, so you don't want to read too much into it, because once the season begins, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just meant to give you little crumbs, little bits of an idea. I'm not sure how much we've learned. There were a few tactical differences. I think the way that we set up to press from opponents' goal kicks, I thought was a little bit different. There was slight changes, but in terms of performance, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's been completely terrible all the time, because it hasn't. I feel like I've seen really good spells of football, really positive performances from quite a few players, but today wasn't really one of them. I thought there was bits early on in the first half where we looked bright. I thought Rashford had a bit of looked quite sharp in the first half as well. I thought Collier looked like he was quite bright at times when he went forward without being one of his better performances. I thought Ahmad wasn't as good as he was in his first couple of games. But you're still looking at people like Alessandro Martinez, Garnacho, Xerxes, you've got Højlund, you've got Euro, and
Bruno.
I know injured, you've got Bruno. You've got a lot of first team players and people that are going to be almost guaranteed to be starters that are going to come in, which will obviously strengthen. But it's a friendly, it's pre-season, but I just never ever like losing to Liverpool in any game.
I think and don't look at this result as being indicative of the whole of the tour, because if you look at some of the performances that we had in previous games, the like of Ahmad, who may have been just on the periphery still for Ten Hag's thinking going into the Community Shield in the season, he's almost certainly now cemented his place in the right wing to start, hasn't he? If not the Community Shield, the first game of the season. For Harry Amas, wasn't his better game tonight, but over the pre-season, he's sort of shown himself as an option in left back. Like Ronnie said there, in terms of the pressing in the first half, it was really positive, and like there was a lot of stuff to sort of say, oh well, Rashford looked a lot sharper. Rashford had a great opportunity where he took the ball down with his right foot, turned the right, and then shot with his left, and it was just unlucky that it went wide of the post. There was little snippets here and there. There are concerns because whilst we were better on the press, it was also worrisome that we were getting hit so easily on the break afterwards, and that's going to be an issue that needs to be dealt with any future centre midfield buys. But I've been a Man United fan a long time, and I've seen Van Gaal's United go to America and beat Real Madrid. I think they beat Liverpool that year, and then play woeful against Swansea. So what I'm saying is that you can play great in pre-season and have a terrible actual season. So there's not a lot to buy into it. Probably the best thing that happened tonight, and nearly happened but didn't, was that we got through 90 minutes without a player being injured.
I think that's true. It still could happen though.
I think Wan-Bissaka almost looked like.
Well, he's going to West Ham.
Yeah, he's meant to be going to West Ham.
That was a strange thing. I'd like to bring in the Wan-Bissaka chat, because we're going to sell Wan-Bissaka. We believe so. We might get a £30 million for him, maybe, which could be used to go on other players and contracts, etc. We played him for 82 minutes of the game. Now, who is that benefiting? It felt quite bizarre.
Yeah.
Don't know if we'll ever find out. Maybe the deal's fallen through. Don't know, but it felt like an odd thing to do.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange. For me, I've always sort of seen pre-season as a time when you're supposed to be trying new things. Like tonight, he started Sancho as a false nine. Okay, it's evident off tonight that isn't something that's going to be an option that you probably choose next season. But this is what pre-season's about, trying new things. What do you learn from playing a player that you are trying to sell, other than risking him to
playing
get
for 90 minutes?
Yeah,
it's just baffling. But there's a lot of people talking about Andy's got a slack in the chat, and I'm in agreement. I Since day one, I think Antony's a piss poor footballer, and almost in a way where sometimes it's about the same way people who make styles make fights. It's about whether you suit the league or whether you suit a team. I don't think Antony suits the Premier League at all. He's not dynamic enough. He's not quick enough. He doesn't have enough of a goal scoring threat. He's too predictable. I think he just looks completely overmatched, and I think he is probably the worst transfer United have ever done, and it's also the way that he's also had his off the field issues to compound it. He's not a very likable character at all. He just comes off very aggressive, very, I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder how many Antony shirts.
Very seedy, very arrogant. Looks like he thinks he's better than he is. I don't know if the United move probably got too much. Almost
ego with him, isn't there?
Almost went to his head a little bit. But I'd also, what's the most rattling thing about Antony though in this pre-season tour is the fact that United and Ineos and obviously Ten Hag have made it obvious that he's disposable and dismemberable, and they will be open to selling him. And I think Ineos do want to turn the page on Antony. It was a signing before their regime, and they clearly don't rate him. Ten Hag showed that towards the end of the season, and then by all accounts, Antony's actually fell out with. I've heard that Antony's actually fell out with Ten Hag about it, and then you've got his agent coming out and making these statements that he wants to stay in his fight for his place, almost pushing back on the club wanting to get rid of him. But so for me, I think if you're an agent and your client and your player, as in Antony, has come out and said, obviously the team has put it out there that it seems that they want to get rid of me and they're open to be sold, and they're like pushing back and saying, no, I want to fight for my place, I want to do this. I don't see that when he's played.
No.
So it's all right talking a good game, but when I've actually seen the performances of Antony, I'm not seeing a player that's playing as if I'm going to show Ineos, I'm going to show Ten Hag, and I'm sure United fans that I'm good enough to be here, and I don't want to be sold. It's almost like I just want to still be here as having the clout of being a United player, collecting a paycheck, and it's almost like an ego thing of I don't want to be forced out. If I want to leave, I want it to be on my own account.
He is in some ways in control of his own destiny, though. There is an argument there where it doesn't matter if he puts in a performance or not. Manchester United can find a buyer for Antony, but he doesn't have to go. You know what I mean? He's in quite within his right because of how badly managed it was before, and we made this signing, and what was it, doubled or tripled his salary when it came to that. And this is a salary that he knows that he isn't getting
anywhere else,
any other club. So, if you're that way inclined and you have had an argument with your manager and the only options are teams or places that you don't want to go, he does strike the sort of player who would stink the place out and say, right, well, I've got 2 years left of my contract. I might be able to get bits here and there. I'll just take a salary. But there's absolutely nothing last season. There was glimmers of it in his first season. There's been nothing in pre-season to suggest that Antony is anywhere near the calibre of a Manchester United player, whether that's in a struggling Manchester United team or even better, if it's towards a team that's trying to be successful in domestic and European football. He just doesn't have it in his locker. And what's really shown that up as well has been a player like Ahmad, who was willing to go on loan to Rangers after we'd signed him, a player who was willing then to go to Sunderland and sign him. They're not two places that are easy to go and play football, the Scottish League and the Championship, but he was willing to ply his trade, put the groundwork in, come back to Old Trafford, wait his time at last season as well, because a lot of people felt he should have been rushed through a little bit quicker with Antony's form. He didn't say anything about it, went about his business humbly, got on the pitch, scored that winner against Liverpool, and every game, didn't have a great game tonight. People will have bad games and good games, but what I always want as a Manchester United player is I want you to make sure that you're trying your best and you are putting 100% out there before anything else,
Yeah,
and
should we round off for that super chat?
The super chat says, from Steve Brindle says, Rushford never passes to Amos on the overlap. Rushford didn't pass on the two for the second goal, and Wan-Bissaka trotted over so slow, but MUTV don't mention anything. Yeah, they're not.
Because they're not going to slag it off.
Not going to slag it off, but I do hear you. People are saying Sancho was worse than Antony.
We'll
I think Sancho wasn't great today either. As a false nine. Antony's the worst signing since Bebe and Sanchez, according to Ant L.
Mad. Well, what's going to happen is on this channel we've got loads coming from America. We're here in Manchester, aren't we? But they're all over where this game happened. 3-0 defeat. Should we leave it there?
We'll leave it there. We'll move on to Manchester City next season, where the season actually starts. The players are actually back. We're a week closer to Euro coming back. In what is the injuries, Lenny Euro and Hoyland or whatever. But do you know what I mean? Let's put this pre-season. It's not the best way to end a pre-season tour, but it is pre-season, and if there's any time we want to lose games, it'll be there. It'll be now. As weird as that is to say.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be. We want to find some positive.
I think it was really positive, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Especially because he's only just come for the last one for the game against Liverpool. What the big positive over the pre-season was the people that watched us and got us through these late nights, and the producers as well. So thanks to you. Shit result, but we had a right laugh on the watch along. So thank you everyone who's watched us over the last pre-season. Wherever it's held next year, me and Ronaldo and Joe will definitely be there. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Yeah.